Hey there guys, if you want to figure out how to make a quick and easy shreddable toy that'll give your bird tons of entertainment as they destroy every little piece of this, then you want to go ahead and watch this video because I'm going to be covering how to make this toy right here. That's going to be coming up right after this. Hey there guys, this is Jack over at Hi Redbird, where I am tirelessly working to find new ways to make the keeping of exotic animals and pets more exciting, more affordable, and ultimately more enjoyable. And in today's video, I wanted to show you guys how to make a quick and easy shreddable toy. Parrots especially love destroying things. You got to remember that if they are in the wild, they would spend most of their time looking for food, and one of the ways they do that is basically picking up, moving, and shredding through or breaking through anything that gets in their path. So giving birds things that they can destroy, that they can break into, is a great way to provide them mental stimulation. One of the problems with shreddable toys, though, is they can get very, very expensive, especially for something that is essentially a disposable toy. If you purchase shreddable toys at the store, you know they're going to be one-time use items. So I did want to show you guys how to make a toy that is essentially refillable and will provide a lot of shredding action for your bird. It's something that you're not going to break the bank on, and this toy can be made in 2 minutes or less. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into how we're going to make this toy. All right, guys, now the tools you're going to need to make this toy are relatively straightforward. Now you could, of course, use a pair of scissors to cut down the paper, but for the sake of ease of time and convenience, I'm going to go ahead and use a rotary cutting mat, a rotary cutter, and a rigid plastic ruler. Now, if you have anybody in your life who sews, quilts, anything like that, you are probably going to have most of these supplies in your house, or you'll have easy access to them. I do recommend, if you are going to use a rotary cutter to cut paper, you want to make sure you have a specially designated cutter just for paper. The paper that we're going to be cutting, and paper in general, cardboard, they're all going to dull out the blade of a rotary cutter very quickly. So if you are borrowing someone's sewing supplies in order to do this and you dull out their blade, I cannot be held responsible for what's going to happen to you. One of the quickest ways to turn someone sweet who sews into a rageful person filled with a murderous rage is to dull out their cutting supplies. So please, 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 I implore you guys, if you're going to use a rotary cutter like this, to go ahead, have a specially designated rotary cutter and blade just for paper. Of course, you can always just use a pair of scissors. Now the other items you're going to need for this toy, you're going to need a selection of chain. Here I have a bell that is on a small chain. So with the top of the bell and the links of the chain, that's going to give me about 5 links of chain. You could, of course, use any other bird-safe chain. You want to use some stainless steel chain. For a lot of species, you could even use a heavy-duty plastic chain. You just want to make sure that the chain that you are using is safe for the bird you are making it for. And then, of course, you're also going to need some construction paper. So the reason that I am going to be using the rotary cutter is that I can go ahead, line this up, and cut 1/2-inch strips very, very easily, very, very quickly. That's what we're wanting to get. Now, of course, if you have bigger chain, larger paper, you can make this any size you want, but the 1/2-inch works pretty well for me. And of course, I am not realigning everything up every single time I cut. They are roughly 1/2 inch. For this project, it is not important for them to be exact. So you'll see that the colors of construction paper I am using for this, I have a couple of sheets of green, I have a sheet of brown, and a sheet of blue. I thought that those would look nice together. Now, your bird is probably going to appreciate this toy no matter what. But if you have a particular color theme you're going for, by all means, go for it. I encourage people to do that because if there are things you can do to make you happy about making toys like this, then you are more likely to do it. So I think that's going to be more than enough paper. So now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take my chain, and I am actually going to tape this down. You don't have to do it. I'm taping it down so that I'll be able to show you guys what I am doing very, very easily. So what we're going to use to attach this paper is called a fringe knot. So all you want to do is take your long strip of paper, fold it in half over itself. So you have two tails on one side, you have a loop on the other. Take your loop, go ahead, feed it through, and then take those tails, tuck them inside the loop, and then pull it reasonably tight. Now you don't want to rip the paper, but you just want it to have a good hold on that. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to continue attaching the paper in this fashion, and I'll catch up with you guys in just a minute. But again, I'll show you. You take your loop, tuck it through the chain, take your tails, tuck them into the loop, and then pull tight. Again, not wanting to rip the paper, just to have it well secured. All right, guys, now once you are done attaching paper using fringe knots to your heart's content, you're going to end up with something that looks like this. And birds absolutely love things like this. They'll go through, you might even see your bird starting to preen the pieces of paper, or they might just completely destroy them. Now, a couple of notes. I used construction paper here, and I used colors that I thought could go together. Your bird's going to respond to anything that's even remotely different. So obviously this not having been in the cage before and then getting added to the cage is going to be something that's an addition. Of course, you can always use whatever colors of paper you have available. You could also use something like butcher paper or newsprint, especially if you want to get strips that are a little bit longer. One thing you just want to keep in mind, that paper can be a little bit easier to tear. So when you are tightening down your fringe knots, you want to make sure that you're not pulling too tight, because if you rip it, I mean, it's not the end of the world. You can just throw that away, grab another strip of paper, but you're going to have to do it again. And the goal of this is to create something that's really, really easy to put together that our birds enjoy. You know, one of the things I hate about toys is if I make a toy that takes me half an hour to make and a bird can destroy it in 5 minutes, which of us was more enriched? Was it me or was it the bird? Because obviously I put a lot more into it and it's not as rewarding for me, so then I may not be as likely to do it in the future. But something like this, I can put together in a matter of minutes, and a bird is really going to enjoy it and might spend quite a bit of time on something like this. Now, another note about those fringe knots, you can also use them to spruce up any old toys that you have. Obviously here I did this on a piece of chain, but you can do a fringe knot just as easily around a piece of cord. You can even use fringe knots to be a decoration on a wall of a cage. You can do those fringe knots right around the bars, and that'll be something that gives your bird something new. Now, usually, if you're trying to fringe knot paper onto the side of a cage and the bird is in the cage, the bird will almost always want to help. So I'd recommend going ahead and taking your bird out of its cage just so you can attach that. But this is a really, really easy toy to put together for a bird. Because I did it on this stainless steel chain, this toy would be safe for just about any size bird. The only thing I'd begin to worry about is when you get to really large birds with a lot of crushing power to their beak. You might have to worry about this bell, but a bell like this is very, very sturdy, and I've seen birds not be able to do any damage to a bell like this. Now, this toy is also really easily put together with things that you can find at your local bird store, things that you can find at the grocery store, the craft store, things you might even have around your house. But I do know that a lot of people are trying to do their best to not leave their house, if possible, in the current situation. So I'm going to go ahead for the items that I used to make this toy. I'm going to go ahead and just put links in the description section down below. If you just want to go online, try to find them and order them so they're just delivered to your house and you don't have to go anywhere, then you'll have that information ready as well. So this is a pretty easy foraging toy. I certainly hope you guys like that. If you guys like these videos, go ahead, like the video, but consider subscribing to the channel and sharing it with anyone you think might be interested in this kind of information, because I do love putting these videos together, and I love pushing myself to make new toys and different things. So I do want to thank you guys for that. But as you guys know, I've had enough time playing around with toys, and I've got to head out because I've got some cages to clean. So I'll see you guys next time. All right, thanks. Bye.